Yeah. So uh, today, we are going to discuss about the course content and what I'm going to cover. Okay. So basically, I have designed this course for Snowflake developers and architects. Okay. So when you go into the job market and search for any Snowflake data engineering roles, right? So you'll be finding different technology stack there. Okay. So let's say I will go to LinkedIn now and I'm going to search for Snowflake developer. Okay. So let me search for Snowflake developers, Snowflake data engineer. Okay, right. So if you see, you're seeing different job descriptions here, like Snowflake data engineer, AWS Snowflake, right? Uh, different technology stack you will see here. Okay, so see here, Snowflake data engineer. This is AWS plus Snowflake, ETL Snowflake. Okay, somewhere you'll find the DBT plus Snowflake. Okay, somewhere you find Informatica, different technology stack they will ask. Okay, so I'll show you here. Snowflake. See here, somewhere like they're asking for airflow also. Okay, I open this technical skills. When I come to technical skills, right? Is normal job description. Okay, let me open another one. Let us open this one. Senior data engineer. Yeah. So 7 plus relevant experience of data warehouse, right? And you have like see here, knowledge of Python, DBT, Informatica. Okay. So they will be clubbing multiple technologies together here, AWS, Snowflake, Python here. Okay. So nowadays in the job market, learning Snowflake alone is not good. Okay. So you don't get much opportunities here. Okay. So people are asking for multiple tools or technologies. But our core thing is Snowflake. You need to be an expert or you need to be good at Snowflake and you need to build all the tools or you need to know the knowledge on like ETL tools or you may need to build the knowledge on your scheduling tools. Okay. So what are those tools? Where does they fit? I will explain you with a diagram. But if you are starting as a new data engineer or you wanted to upgrade your skills to Snowflake, so try to learn Snowflake plus some other tools. Okay. So that is the reason I designed multiple uh, tools in this particular course. Okay. Right. So before that, first of all, let's see what is Snowflake. So let us try to understand what is Snowflake. Okay. So Snowflake is a data warehouse base. Okay. Snowflake is a cloud data warehouse. Okay. So what is a data warehouse here? Right. Just a minute. So Snowflake is a data warehouse here, right? So what is the purpose of this particular data warehouse? Generically, I'm talking not only Snowflake. There might be multiple data warehouses in the market, but where exactly this particular data warehouse is used, right? So when I say this data warehouse, let's say you're purchasing a product in Amazon, right? So when you purchase a product in Amazon, you will be seeing some recommendations. Let's say I'm purchasing a book. So they'll say, purchase this book and this book together you'll get this much discount, right? So they are giving some recommendation, right? So that is coming from that is coming from your historical data from a database. Okay, so this Snowflake will be storing a lot of historical data in the background, and they will be applying some algorithms and getting that recommendation value. Okay, so there are other applications of a data warehouse, but let's first of all try to understand what will happen in the background for the Amazon case. Okay, so you will be having a source database here. Okay. So maybe this source database is called OLTP database. Okay. So this database in the Amazon case might be storing your product information, or your orders information, users information, customers information, sellers information, right? So those kind of data will be stored in the OLTP systems, okay, OLTP databases. So this is also a database, but this can hold small volume of data. It cannot hold large volume of historical data, but it can write and read really faster, okay, on the small amounts of data, because this is a transaction processing system. So let's say when you ordered some product, so you need to get the response immediately, right? So that is the reason these systems are designed for very fast responses, but they cannot hold large historical data. When I say large historical data, I am using my Amazon account for the last 10 years. So it cannot hold my 10 years orders data here. Okay. So like this, there are millions of customers orders data, right? So for this, we have designed a separate database that is called data warehouse. Okay. So data warehouse, when I say data warehouse, it is really big when you compare to this OLTP systems. Okay. So we also call it as OLAP systems in the data warehousing world. Online analytical processing. This is transaction processing. This is analytical processing. Okay. So now, what is this data warehouse or OLAP system is? It can store lot of historical data, right, from your OLTP system. So what we do, right, once the data is getting older, you will be moving your OLTP data to OLAP data. So in the Amazon case, all the historical data may be older than 3 years or 4 years, I will be moving into my OLAP system. Okay. So this is called a data warehouse or OLAP system here. Okay. So this is where Snowflake comes into picture, please. Okay. Now, after loading the data, after loading the historical data, what you're going to do with this particular data, right? So there are multiple purposes with this particular historical data. So one is reporting is, okay, reporting. Okay, so there might be some visualization engineer developing reports on top of your Snowflake. So they use tools like Tableau and Power BI. Okay, Looker. There are multiple tools in the market. So why these reports are required? Maybe the Amazon business team wants to know what is my sales for a particular product in a particular region. They want to have a sales report, right? So that sales report is built on your OEAP system here. Okay. From all the historical data, you'll be building your sales report here. So like this, you'll be building multiple reports. And other one who is going to consume this particular thing is a data scientist. Okay. So what does a data scientist do here is, he will be using your historical data for the last 5 to 10 years, and he will be doing what could be my sales in the next 5 years. So he will be predicting. So predicting your company sales, or he will be giving the recommendations like Amazon. Like when I bought some bought some comic book, so you'll come to know, okay, if one person bought some comic book, he may like fictional book. So they'll club this fictional plus comic together and offer you as a bundle, right? So that kind of algorithms a data scientist will apply on your historical data. So whether you're a data scientist, so this guy is a data scientist. So I'll name it here. This guy is a data scientist, right? And this guy is a data analyst or visualization engineer, we can say. Visualization engineer, correct? Now, what we are going to do as data engineers here is, as a data engineer, you are going to build this particular pipeline. So we call it as a pipeline, guys, here. Okay, what is this pipeline? So this pipeline is getting the data from your source systems like OLTP systems and putting it into your data warehouse. Okay, so this process is called ELT, extraction, loading, and transformation. ELT, guys. Okay, this particular big box which I'm showing here is called ELT. So as a data engineer, you are going to do this ELT process. Okay. So you are a data engineer. So you will be doing all the extraction. So what I mean by extraction is extract the data from your source. Okay, so here I'm saying only one source, like it might be a database like Oracle or Postgres or MySQL, any of the database, or it can be any social networking website like Facebook or Instagram, right? So there sometimes there is a need to bring the data from social network websites also. There might be some IoT devices like sensors, right? In some use cases, you may be working with IoT data like sensors and all, right? So you need to extract the data from all these different kinds of sources. Okay. So extract this data and put it in some temporary area. Okay. So what we do is we'll extract the multiple sources data and put it into one area. Okay. So we call it a staging area. Okay. So you'll be bringing the data from different sources, right? This process is called extraction. Okay. Extracting the data. So this process is extraction. Now, once you get the data into this particular staging area or temporary area, you will be loading the data into your data warehouse, this copy. Okay, this process is called load. Okay, this process is called load. Now, once you load the data, generally we call this particular data in your OLAP system, we copy it here. So we call this as raw database. Okay, raw data from different sources. Now, you will be doing some manipulation or some transformation to your data and call it as curated data. Okay, curated data. So what is this curated data is, let's say I'm getting the sales data at day level, but I want it month level or I want it year level. I want to consolidate it quarter level. So that is one transformation. Okay. So from raw data to curated data, you need to do some transformation, right? You need to write some transformation here so that your visualization engineer or your data scientist will use this curated data. Or sometimes they may access raw data also, that especially data scientists need sometimes raw data also. Okay. So as a data engineer,
Hi, Vinod.
yeah,
Uh, in this transformation, Vinod, so we have to create the stored prop to yeah, do
okay.
the clip and all those stuff.
Yes. Okay. So how I'm doing the transformation, how I'm doing extraction, loading, right? That ELT. So I will discuss that later. Okay. Which tool we can use there and all. Just I will
Oh,
discuss after.
okay,
Okay. So
okay,
currently just I'm telling the generic architecture. How does a ELT looks like? So now what you are going to do, you are going to extract the data from multiple sources, E, and putting it into some temporary area, load it into your data warehouse as a raw data, and then transform it, make it available for your visualization engineer and your data scientist. So any project, any data engineering project you take, this will be the architecture. So this is the template of the architecture base. Okay. Now, for extraction, I may use one tool. For loading, I may use one tool. For transformation, I may use one tool. So there will be a lot of permutations and combinations for ELT process. Okay. So what are the tools used for extraction, load, transformation? I will tell you that. But see here, so there will be different OLTP systems and your Snowflake will be sitting here. So my data warehouse is Snowflake here. Okay. So my OLTP system is Snowflake, right? So my Snowflake will have all the raw data and I will be performing some transformations and I will be doing the curation here. So most of our time will be spent on transformations. Okay. So some projects you'll be only dealing with Snowflake transformations. But in some projects, they'll ask you to build the pipeline also. You do the extraction loading part also. Okay. So as a data engineer, we will be responsible for this big box size. Okay. And there will be visualization engineers consuming our data, a data scientist, or there may be some third party systems, they will be consuming our data here. Okay. So this is how an ELT process works. And this is the responsibility of the data engineer days. Okay. Clear? Or you have any question? Okay. Now, see, to enter into this data engineering, I told you you need to learn multiple tools and multiple technologies, right? So let me give you one diagram here or one Excel sheet I will open. So what we are doing here generally, we are doing extraction. Okay. What are the activities as a data engineer you are doing? Extraction, load, transformation, ELT, correct? And then there is one more thing called scheduling or orchestration. Okay. Scheduling or orchestration. So what does this scheduling or orchestration is? This process has to run daily. That ELT process, which I explained, it has to run daily at maybe 10 p.m. in the night. Okay. So when the business users are not using my application, I need to run this. So you need to do some scheduling also, right? So for that also, you may need to use some tools, scheduling or orchestration here. Okay. And you need a data warehouse, correct? Right? So these are the different tools or technologies you may need to use. Okay. So now, what are the tools available in the market to do all these activities, right? So here, data warehouse, we are sticking with Snowflake. Okay. There are other data warehouses in the market, like you have Redshift, you have Teradata, you have Azure Synapse, you have SAP HANA, multiple things are there in the market. But Snowflake is leading in the market. We'll discuss why Snowflake is leading. Okay. So our data warehouse is now Snowflake. Okay. Now, to do extraction, loading, transformation, there are different tools in the market. One such tool is called Matillion base. Okay. Matillion is one tool. It's a complete ELT tool which can do, when I'm saying ELT, it can do extraction, it can do loading, it can do transformation, and even it can do orchestration also. Okay. So you can build a data pipeline using Matillion plus Snowflake. So that is the reason if you go to some LinkedIn job market here, just I have seen Matillion plus Snowflake. So you'll be seeing some job descriptions with Matillion plus Snowflake. I'll show you. So I got this before, but whether this particular thing is see here. So, okay, I did not get any job description with Matillion, but I have seen just before starting our class. Okay, so there will be some Matillion plus Snowflake stack requirement to implement your data pipeline. Okay, so some people will go with this approach, right? Now, there is another way of building your ELT pipeline. Okay, so for extraction, there are some tools. Okay, so there is a service called DMS, Data Migration Service. Okay, so this is one tool which can connect to your Snowflake, which can connect to your source systems and extract the data. Only this part it will do, extraction. Okay, so it can connect to your databases. Okay, so DMS is one such tool. Okay, so there are other tools like Fivetran, Quilic, okay, and different tools are there here. Okay, so for extraction I may use DMS. For loading I may use a different mechanism. In Snowflake we have a mechanism called Snowpipe or copy into. Okay, and for transformation, this is where the DBT tool comes into picture. DBT, data build tool, which is designed exclusively for transformation. And for scheduling, Airflow, orchestration or scheduling, Airflow. Still your data warehouse is Snowflake. Okay, so it depends on your project technologies, tool stack they use, guys. Okay, but everywhere your Snowflake is the key thing you need to learn. Okay, so all others are secondary. Okay, so this way you learn on the project itself, the Matillion or your DBT or your Airflow. But Snowflake is the key thing that you need to learn here. Okay, so like this, you can build multiple combinations of pipeline with Snowflake. Okay, so in our sessions or in our course, what I'm trying to teach here is I'm trying to teach different technologies or different tool stack. So just I will give you what is the roadmap, right? One by one, how we can uh, go to that particular pipeline building. So first of all, I am going to teach Snowflake case. Okay, Snowflake is our core area that you need to learn. But before that, the prerequisite I would say is SQL. Okay, for any database you want to work, you need to know structured query language, SQL. Okay, so for this, what I'm going to do is I am going to share 7 to 8 hours of my sessions, pre-recorded sessions, if you want to go through. Or let's say some people are very new to SQL, we may conduct a special class for those people. Okay, so SQL is mandatory, is very really mandatory to enter into your data warehouse market or data engineering market. Okay, so now after SQL, you're good with SQL generally. We will be starting with Snowflake. Okay, right. We will be starting with Snowflake. So this will be complete 20 to 25 hours of sessions on Snowflake we will be discussing. Okay. And later, in parallel, we are going to touch on a cloud called AWS, Amazon Web Services. So you might have already know it, but your Snowflake can run on different clouds. It can be AWS cloud or it can be Microsoft Azure or it can be GCP. Okay. So you might be knowing cloud. So you don't need to install any software on your machine. Everything will run on cloud. Okay. That software upgradation, patching, everything will happen on your cloud here. Okay. So Snowflake and AWS will be covering parallelly. So we'll be switching between Snowflake and AWS. Then once this is completed, I am going to start on the Matillion. Okay. Matillion is our ELT
Excuse
tool.
me,
Yeah, please.
excuse me. Yeah, any particular services you're going to focus on the AWS?
Yes. So yeah, so there are multiple services. We will be discussing about S3. We will be discussing about simple notification service to send messages. We will be discussing about RDS, relational database services. We will be discussing about BMS, data migration service. Okay, so all those things which I am going to discuss are listed here. Okay, so let me show you that particular thing. So I have designed as a module wise. So first module 1 to module 5 will be Snowflake case. Okay. So all the basics from basics to data pipeline building. And then if you go to AWS, AWS is module 8, but it will come first. So we'll be discussing about S3, EC2, RDS, SNS, SSM, DBS. These are all shortcut keys, but I will explain what are these particular services. Okay. Right? So I'm going to touch base on all the important AWS services that are required for a data engineer. Okay. So once this is done, once Snowflake and AWS is done, you're good to go. Base. That means you can give the job drive. Okay. So these are the very important things that you need to learn. These three. So once this is completed, I will be starting Matillion. Okay. So how to build an end-to-end pipeline using Matillion and Snowflake, right? So once this is completed, we are going to discuss about DBT. Okay, data build tool, which is exclusively for transformation and Airflow. This will go in parallel. Again, we'll build a pipeline using Airflow and DBT. So I told you right in the Excel sheet, I gave you Matillion plus Snowflake is one pipeline. Airflow DBT plus Snowflake is one other pipeline, right? So you'll be getting some doubts when there is Matillion is doing all the things. Why we need Airflow and DBT also? So there are specific advantages of these tools. Okay, so we'll be discussing that. Okay. So this is how our path looks like this. Okay. So first will be SQL will be you need to brush up your SQL skills. So Snowflake and AWS will be going in parallel. Then Matillion will be building some pipelines. Then DBT and Airflow. So this is how our course looks like, and I have listed down the in detail topics. Okay. Okay. In detail topics like what is different module First of all, we'll talk about Snowflake introduction. So what is Snowflake? How the architecture looks like? What are the special features? How to create a trial account? How the user interface looks like, right? So everything I will go to. So then Snowflake administration, how to ingest the data, how to build the pipelines in Snowflake. Then Snowflake special features. So module 1 to 5 will be Snowflake. Then we'll be going to Matillion, and there are some Python use cases also I'm going to touch, and AWS integration, Airflow. Okay, and DBT, because I'm focusing on DBT specially because this particular tool is getting momentum now with Snowflake. So if you have DBT added to your profile, this is very, very good. You'll be getting calls very easily. So that's the reason I had a separate curriculum for DBT here. Okay, so this also I'm going to cover here. So clear, guys, are any questions?
So Vinod, other than SQL,
Right.
no knowledge on other technologies or cloud is required to go through this course, right?
No. So anyway, I'm going to cover that. Right? So I'm going to cover AWS cloud. I'm going to cover everything here. So these things I'm going to take care. SQL also, I'm going to give a pre-recorded session here. Okay. If you want to have a interactive session, maybe 1 weekend we'll cover a very important things of SQL. Otherwise,
So as you know, you are in this market, IT market. So Databricks and PySpark is very huge demand nowadays. So why do you think Snowflake plus DBT? I mean, you think like otherwise are you getting any? You are seeing the job notifications where this combination is going to be a huge demand in future. Why Snowflake plus DBT? Why not Snowflake for PySpark or other technologies?
yeah.
As you said, we can use a lot of other things for ELT, right?
Correct. Yeah. So DPT came up with very unique features given here actually. So see, when I jump into DBT, I'll tell you. See, when you do an application development, right? Let's say I'm working as a Java developer, some application developer. So the style of working with application development is different. So you will be properly maintaining your code in the repositories, and you will be building your your application pipelines and right. So this DBT has introduced that application style of developing things in the data engineering. Okay, so it has tight integration with version control tools like GitHub, and it has a lot of things like you can test your data quality. So whenever, let's say I want to implement some primary key or something on Snowflake, it is not available, right? So in DBT you can do that, and there are something like data lineage diagrams. Let's say one job is running from multiple source systems, multiple tables to a target table. Now I want to see a diagram saying what are the different source tables used. Okay, so all those things, different features they have come up with. So that is the reason DBT is getting momentum with Snowflake. Okay, so it's a added advantage if you learn this. Okay.
Okay, understood, Vinod. Just last question.
Yeah.
Assuming from an architect perspective, assuming I'm working as an architect or a senior architect in a particular company,
Okay.
so I need to explain to my management
Mhm.
why DBT plus
Exactly.
Snowflake, why don't PySpark,
Correct.
Databricks, all these things. Is it like financially, is this a open source? Otherwise, we are the license wise, it is less in cost. What is that the driving factor to go towards DBT? I
Okay.
understood from a developer perspective, you said there are a lot of advantages, a
Right.
lot of best practices which are there in DBT.
Correct.
Maybe after some days, the other fellow like the Databricks or PySpark, they will also market those things, right? You know, this is how the IT market works
Correct.
right now.
Correct. Correct.
So that is one question about the licensing fees or the open
Yes.
source thing.
Yes, that's true. So DBT is offered in two versions actually. One is like DBT Core and DBT Cloud. So DBT Core is the open source version, but you don't have the fancy UI there. Okay. So DBT
Correct.
Cloud looks like this here.
Hello, Vinod.
Yes, yeah. Tell me.
Actually, in my project, we are using Redshift. So, what is the advantage of means Snowflake over Redshift means why we should prefer Snowflake over Redshift or any other like data warehouse which like in Azure we have Azure Synapse.
Right.
So
Yeah, the differentiators I will talk about in the next session. Right? So I'm not jumping into there. Okay. So see, I'll be first of all I will be highlighting the good features of Snowflake. Then you'll understand why Snowflake is different from other data warehouses.
Sir, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
audible.
Yeah, you're audible.
Yeah, so I'm a data engineer.
Okay.
In my company, I work on Spark, PySpark, and I'm Azure certified.
Oh,
Now I have a bit of knowledge on Snowflake, but I want in-depth of DBT. Like, will you be covering Jinja templates?
yes.
I'm good
yes.
with Python. Oh,
Oh,
okay.
you're good with Python. So see, my
Yeah.
DBT course curriculum is based actually. So we will be
Uh,
covering what are the different models, what are the pre-hooks, post-hooks, Jinja templates, right? Macros, snapshots, seeds. So all the features of DBT, all the features of DBT with an example I will be covering there. Okay.
So yeah, so this DBT and airflow will be also be covered according now whatever you have explained, right?
Yes, yes. So what I'm going to do is, right, so I'm going to build I'm going to show you the pipelines using all these tools, okay? So DBT will be around 13 to 15 hours session, but Airflow will be like a very basic introduction I'm going to give, okay? So we can learn,
Okay.
it's very easy to learn, okay? But at the end, we are going to do is we are going to build an end-to-end data pipeline using these technologies, okay? So I will be creating one source system with Oracle database in AWS, and I will be bringing some data from there to our Snowflake, and then we are going to perform some transformations, okay, using these tools.
We know two pipeline we will create using the first Matillion, Snowflake, and then this one, second one.
Exactly. So this is first pipeline one, and then pipeline two. But before that, you need to understand the basics of every tool, right? So first we'll cover the basics of every tool, and then we will be building the pipeline.
Sir, after this course, can I go ahead with doing Snowflake Pro certification,
Yes,
right? And then
yes, you can do it. But whatever we are covering, right? So almost Snowpro core is covered. There are a couple of new features of very small new features added. So you need to go through the documentation for that, which I have not covered about the unstructured data processing. But I have the